Hello and welcome to Have You Got Your Shit Together with me, Caitlin O'Ryan, the podcast that celebrates not having your shit together. On today's episode, we have Ella McRobb. Ella is a 23-year-old singer-songwriter who made an instant impact online with the release of her debut single, And We'll Leave It There, a collaboration with legendary Icelandic composer Ólafur Arnalds, sparked from a beautiful moment on social media. 2024 will see Ella release her debut EP, a collection of songs recounting the heartbreaks we all experience in life from romantic relationships, family and friendships. Ella is an artist with vulnerability at the forefront of her songwriting. Through her music, she wants to empower others to be authentically and unapologetically themselves. You should definitely check out her music, it's absolutely gorgeous. I hope you enjoy the episode. Here's Ella. Thank you so much for coming, Ella.
Thanks for having me.
No, I'm super excited. Said this song means a lot to him, and I've been listening to it loads, and it's gorgeous.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So, on a scale of shit to together, how are you feeling today?
It's fluctuated already.
Okay.
It's only 1 o'clock and it's fluctuated. It started pretty good. Got up. I did a bit of like stretching this morning.
Nice.
Trying to get into it.
Is that a common thing, or is that like a new year? I'm going to try this thing out.
It's not even New Year. It's just I feel achy. Like I'm getting to that point where I shouldn't be.
How old are you?
23.
Oh, babe, it gets worse.
I shouldn't be achy, so I was like, right, I'm going to stretch. Yeah. Did that, felt good, was ready to come in here, be like, I've got my shit together.
Yeah.
And
then,
then
trying to cheat the system, basically.
Yeah, seriously, it was kind of like a psychological thing this morning. And then I left my house with 10 minutes till my train, and it's a 10-minute walk.
Woof.
So I ran for the train, which then brought the scale down. And
were the endorphins up, maybe?
Yeah. Got the exercise in that I didn't go for a run this morning, so tick that off the list.
Nice.
The imaginary list. And then I'm feeling good though. Yeah. I was vibing in Sainsbury's on the way here.
Great.
Like I'm feeling probably, I'd say like a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that is like a standard scale that you're on, or do you tend to be a bit lower or a bit higher?
I think it's a daily thing. Like I definitely fluctuate. Like there's been days recently where I've been like a 2.
Right.
And then like some days I'm a 10. It just I think it depends what's on the agenda, what's sort of happening in my life at that point.
Yeah.
Whether I've done the things that I sort of mentally set for myself for each day. Yeah. And I've like felt like I've achieved something. Yeah. That definitely like makes it fluctuate.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm really interested because I feel like your story of how you've got into music is like insane. And like I want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
So could you tell me, please?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been singing since I was really young, like 3.
Okay.
There's a video somewhere of me singing Evergreen, because I watched Will Young on Pop Idol.
Oh my God.
And it was semi in tune, and my parents were like, we're on something. She might go somewhere. But I did a lot of like musical theatre growing up. Cool. I did classical like grades with my singing teacher.
Wow, okay.
Did a diploma and things like that.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And I've been writing since I was 12.
Wow.
And
do you remember what like the first song was?
I've got it in my voice notes and I'm not playing it. But it's I think it was called Cave.
Wow.
And it was like
deep.
It was like, I think it was like, I am locked up in this cave, down your road, but you don't know. That was the lyric. Wow. I remember it because it's just scarred me for life. But there's a lot of horrible voice notes in my phone of me like writing songs on my own.
I think most people have that though.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah. I wasn't locked in a cave, by the way, don't worry. Like you don't need to phone social services. I mean, I'm older now, but
I'm out.
But I did all that. I then sort of went travelling after school around sort of Southeast Asia, just sort of found myself, inverted commas. Yeah. And came back, and my manager, who had messaged me quite a few years before that, I got back in contact with him, was like, I really, really want to start giving this career a go.
Right.
So that was like just before lockdown. Started writing a load in lockdown, got put in sessions with other people. And then fast forward like 2 years, I've already done like loads of songs that I've written, ready, like got an EP ready, things like that. Wow. And then I duetted this video on TikTok that Ólafur Arnalds had posted. It was him just improvising on the piano. Yeah. I posted it. It got hardly any views. It got like less than 500 views.
Oh my God.
I nearly deleted it. And then a week later, he put it on his story, messaged me. Like, I had random strangers messaging me being like, you're the girl, he's trying to find you. Like, all of this stuff. And I was like at work at the pub. I work at a pub. And I was literally like, oh my God. I almost started crying on the stairs. I was like, what the hell?
That's like a Hollywood moment.
It was honestly insane. I don't know if you know about how slow things can be in the music industry, but like this was the fastest experience of my life. Like the next week we were pitching it to the label. Like 2 weeks later I was in Iceland recording it. Like from me posting that video to it, the song coming out, which actually came out on my birthday, 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
It was insane, the
what
speed.
A whirlwind.
I know, we just kind of wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
And capture the essence of it being so organic and like completely, like a lot of stuff can be orchestrated and like the public don't know about it, but this was completely just random, like all off the back of this little TikTok.
It's so mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That literally feels like the dream of like what people are trying to achieve on TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It restored my faith in like social media in a way, because I was like, everything you see on there's been like the label told them to do it, or like someone, you know, knows someone, so they managed to get like this big break, and this was just like completely out of nowhere, which was really amazing.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the time with like when you're putting your work on social media, because I have it, you know, even with this podcast, or I do like spoken word stuff, and if I share that stuff, it's so hard to separate yourself from the nightmare of social media and like equating everything with likes and like how many views it gets, and actually understanding that isn't what the piece of art is worth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I follow a lot of creative Instagram accounts and stuff like that, and they're basically saying like, just keep pushing it out and don't worry that it's not getting the likes or the views, because someone will see it, and you don't know, it only takes one person to see it and for it to like change your life.
It's crazy. I mean, I took that on board and sort of didn't think about that video too much at all, because I literally had 20 minutes. I played netball. I had 20 minutes for netball training. I had my hair like scraped back, probably a bit greasy, like wearing like just like workout gear.
Wow.
Basically made that up in 20 minutes just because it really inspired me, the like, piano bit, and just posted it. And like I said, I almost deleted it. Like it was kind of like, I got caught up in this in my head of like, oh God, I don't know if that's actually a good thing to post after I'd posted it.
It's so wild, isn't it? Yeah.
And yeah, it's, you know, when like there used to be this trend of people posting on Instagram and they put like, felt cute, might delete.
Yeah.
And it's like, why put that? Like, what? Just post it.
Just post it and own
stop
it.
worrying about what other people think. And I'm literally a biggest hypocrite because I worry about what everyone thinks.
I do it all the time.
But it's interesting how much we care about how we're perceived and how much other people don't actually care about what we're doing.
I worry sometimes when I'm sharing things on social media that like it's cringy or like what other people think about it. And then someone said to me the other day that like you sharing that is actually like giving other people permission to also share the things that they create and give them the confidence to do it. And I think like it's a testament to kind of what you've achieved, that it's not actually about quantity of like the views or the likes that you're getting, but it only takes the quality of one important person to see it and really rate what you're doing as an artist, that it can like take you on this massive journey.
And without that, this whole song wouldn't exist. Like that, all the people that it's like affected and like made them feel something. Like I had so many, I've never experienced before how much a song that I obviously care about and means a lot to me can affect other people. Like people messaging me saying that like it's really helped them through like grief and like things that I never imagined that song when I was in my bedroom just singing a little thing would ever do. It's really crazy how
it's so beautiful,
how amazing it can be.
Do you feel like you were able to enjoy the experience, or was it just so fast that it was like a bit of a whirlwind?
I definitely enjoyed it. Like I was on cloud 9. But it was over really quickly, and I was
then
like,
it must be strange to go back to reality and like
100%. I came back from Iceland on like, it was like the beginning of March. 2 days later, I was at the pub again. I was like, oh, I'm not drinking.
Was it a dream?
I was at the pub just like serving customers and like every now and then a customer would be like, so what do you do other than this? And I'd like go on like this massive spiel that I've just been to Iceland. But yeah, it is strange being brought back down to earth Although I do actually think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to get swept up in emotion and feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
And then forgetting where you've come from and like where you've worked to get to that point. And I think actually it's really good to stay grounded, to have that extra job on the side.
Definitely.
Which a lot of creative people do actually have to have.
Wow.
It's just the nature of
it's life, isn't it?
the way it is. But yeah, no, it's definitely
it's so cool.
It is but I did get brought back down to earth quite quickly.
And how was it like, I guess, meeting someone who you really rated? And
it was like the collaboration I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. His studio is absolutely insane. It's just beautiful. It used to be Sigur Ros's studio.
Wow.
It's got like tree trunks lining the wall.
Stunning.
And everything he was doing, like just playing the piano and like doing all the production, it was just mind-blowing. Like just being able to see it in person, felt really lucky to be able to witness it, really.
But someone that you rate so much, like rating you,
I know,
like what the fuck?
There was a lot of imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I bet.
Like there was a lot of people in the room like looking like, wow, it's so great to meet you. I was like, to meet me? Why me? Like
little old me.
Yeah, just little old me. But you do get a little bit better once you've had experiences like that at sort of accepting that, you know, you have something great and you do have something to give. And I did end up feeling like that at the end of it. I was like, yes, like obviously Oliver is absolutely incredible and really amazing at what he does, but I also had something to bring to the table too. And I think that is something that I've learned in the last year. Yeah. And I'm getting better at sort of that owning imposter. Owning that I have something to contribute, which is really nice.
That's so amazing. Okay then, what does having your shit together mean to you?
It means everything's sort of working for you in the sense that you're doing things that make you happy every day, that are working towards a goal that might be small, might be big, but just something that makes you feel like you've achieved something. I used to think that having your shit together was like being successful, having loads of money and like having a big house and all of that, but actually as I've sort of like experienced more things, it's about making sure you have people you love around you and making sure that you're doing things that you're happy with and that make you feel fulfilled and not what other people perceive as success. Yeah. Like there's so many small wins that you don't appreciate all the time, and when you start appreciating them, you actually feel like actually this journey is what's exciting. It's not necessarily this end goal that I've made up in my head for myself. Yeah.
And it definitely is the journey, isn't it? Like, I think so often you could click your fingers and you could be on like the O2 stage or something like that. But actually it's the progress and it's the making the connections that is like the joy.
Yeah, I sometimes catch myself like getting caught up or upset, like on those days when I don't feel like I've got my shit together. And you have to sort of remind yourself that without those days, you're not going to get to the place that you eventually want to end up being at. And you have to sort of like embrace the fact that, you know, not every day is going to be amazing. And that there will be amazing days and you've got to just sort of ride it out, basically.
And I guess with like a career like yours, so much of it is like you're having to push yourself forwards and you're having to be your own boss and like, you know, get up and decide to write. Like, what is your relationship like with that?
I'm sure you know how it is with that, because being creative is you are your own boss and it's impossible some days. Like you, especially like if I work at a late shift or something at the pub and then I've got to get up the next day, I sometimes kick myself if I wake up like at 9 or 9:30 because everyone else is getting up at 5 and going to the gym and going to work and getting to their desk at 8 a.m. and stuff. And it is hard to like think of things to do on the daily when there isn't necessarily anything you can actually do on that day that's going to progress you forward.
Sometimes resting is okay, but like we make ourselves feel so guilty about it.
And I forget that like Tuesdays are sometimes my weekend. Because sometimes on a Saturday or a Sunday I'm doing music or I'm working a shift and it's like other people have got that day off and it's very hard to like rewire your brain into having this sort of messed up schedule that other people don't have. And feeling guilty about that.
Completely.
But I tend to like fill those days that are sort of a bit nothing days, as I would say, with like writing and just trying to sit down or listen to music or go for a walk and listen to some music and just try and keep my brain creatively going for those days when I actually need to like put my brain more into gear.
Definitely. What is it that inspires you most when it comes to writing then?
I think it's listening to a song, not necessarily a specific song, but like a song that I've heard and going, I want to write that. like, I want that. I wish that was mine. That sort of feeling of like, wow, that is possible. And so sometimes it will be a chord, sometimes it will be a word that I've heard, or like someone's written a really clever lyric and I'm like, how can I make something that's equally clever, not the same, but equally clever, and put that into a song. So I think I definitely get inspired by other people.
That's amazing.
Sometimes I'll be watching a TV program and there'll be some chords in the background. I'm like, whoa. And then I'll like pause it, go to the piano, work out what those chords are, write something to it. And so,
cool.
Other people's work, I think, is a big...
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we asked you to think of an object that makes you feel like you've got your shit together.
I brought it with me.
Amazing.
I thought about... Well, I've got two things, actually.
Okay.
The first one is the thing that's carrying the object, which is this lovely bag.
Love. A little bum bag.
Yeah, it's just... It's like a... Is it like Mary Poppins? It's just got... Or is it Nanny McPhee?
Mary Poppins.
It's just got everything in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so... small, but it's so big. I just don't understand.
It's great.
It fits everything.
It's like a TARDIS.
The main, it's like a TARDIS. But the main object
passport.
It's my passport.
Okay.
Firstly, I like that it's the old one.
Yes.
Because
thank you,
Europe. I just like the colour of it. It feels like a passport.
Yeah,
I saw those blue ones and I thought
they look pretend.
Yeah, they look fake. Basically, I feel like when I've got this with me on my person, I can go anywhere.
Wow.
Like, I can go to a over 18s venue. I can
dream big.
I can travel. Yeah. Like, you know that sinking feeling when you're on the way to the airport and you're like, where's my passport?
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, you can't go anywhere without it.
No.
So this makes me feel like I've got my shit together.
Freedom.
Without this, I'm not free.
Yeah. Wow, thank you. Have you got any stamps in there? Any fun stamps?
Oh, you know what? It's really sad. When I went travelling in 2019, my passport was that one that you get when you're 15. And so when I was 20, I had to get a new one. So the old one had so many, like, it had like Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, like so many great. Oh, I've got quite a few. Surprising myself. No, they're mainly just like European destinations. The highlight would probably be Amsterdam, because I got stamped into the country, had my trip, stamped out of the country, flight got cancelled, stamped back into the country.
Oh my God.
Had to find a hotel without the help of EasyJet. Thank you, EasyJet. And then got stamped back out of the country to return to the homeland. So that would be, I've got 4 stamps from Amsterdam from one trip.
Amazing.
So that's definitely the highlight. But got a few. Got Billund, bit of a random one from Denmark where my sister lives.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I don't carry my passport around with me because I'm so terrified about losing it.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Today, when I don't need my passport, it is a bit stressful to have it with me. Like today, I was like, is it still there? But it was for a good cause. So, I just think it's access all areas. It's like a VIP pass.
Oh, wow.
Well, not all areas, but, you know.
If you're allowed, if you have a visa.
If I'm legally allowed.
Can you talk about a time in your life where you felt like you really had your shit together?
Kind of already brushed on it, but definitely the sort of like last year when the whole like thing was happening with Oliver. I really felt like all of those days that I'd had in the year prior where I was just sort of feeling like, where's this going? What's happening? Like, I've worked so hard and I've got no music out. When that happened, it was just like everything fell into place without me, you know, doing too much. And I was really proud and really happy with the way things were going and how the song came out. It came out on my birthday, like the night before we'd been to watch Oliver's amazing wife, Sandra. She performed in St Pancras Old Church, and we'd all gone to have some drinks after, and then it was my birthday and everyone just sung to me.
Oh my God, I'm getting like shivers. This is such a dream.
It was just everything, I just felt special, and I felt appreciated for my work and my like talent and I think that is when I really felt like I had my shit together. Definitely.
Yeah, that's so cool. In opposition to that then, a time in your life where you really didn't have your shit together?
Also not that far in the past. Like literally just before Christmas. It's quite a different scenario, but I had this really annoying skin condition on my face, and it was like, it's called peroral dermatitis. I don't know if I've said that properly. It's where it's like dermatitis where you just get like almost like an eczema-like rash. And I just felt so low. I was crying most days. So I was like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want people to see my face. Like, I tried to put makeup on it, but makeup makes it worse. Like, it was just one of those times where everything that I tell myself about, you know, don't care about the way you look, go out makeup free, like, don't worry about what people think about you, just went out the window. And I just was like really low, and nothing was getting rid of it. It's not like a spot where you can just zap it and get rid of it with like a cream. That makes it worse. So it was just really sort of, it just made my confidence plummet down. So that's one of those things that it's like obviously quite superficial, but it really just made me feel like I did not have my shit together, even though everything else in music and everything else was great and falling into place. That just brought me down. So yeah.
But I think, like, I don't think it is superficial. Like, even when you've got, like, spots on your face, for example, like, it can just make you so self-conscious. Like, it can just make you, like, close in on yourself a little bit more. So when it's something like that, like, how long did it last for?
I mean, it's only just clearing up now.
Right.
So it was, like, well, a month at least of no treatment of it, like, getting better. The only thing that actually helps it is the antibiotics that you have to take.
Really?
Like, daily ones.
Yeah.
So it was just like working that out and getting to the point where I was then given those.
Yeah.
It was just a lot. Like I had a thing with all my music management people, and like it was like a Christmas party thing, and I was that was when it started, and I was like really self-conscious. And then I had like Christmas and stuff. I didn't want to take any photos. I looked at my phone the other day, and I don't really take that many selfies, but I hadn't taken a selfie for like 3 months. And it's just one of those things where you just kind of it just brings you down, it meant that I wasn't able to sort of necessarily shine or feel creative and stuff like that. So definitely.
Do you know what it was that brought it on?
It can be a lot of things. It can be cold weather.
Yeah.
It can be overuse of skincare products, which probably I did.
Yeah.
So I just stripped it all back. I just used like really natural, easy, like hardly anything. Just learnt to sort of leave it alone, and it's gone now pretty much. So it's much better. But
because my dad has psoriasis, and he's had it all throughout my life, and it was really bad. It's gotten better now since he's gotten older, and obviously it's very connected to stress. But like, you know, I would notice it in him. Like when it was really bad, he wouldn't necessarily want to go outside. Like he'd want to dress more covered up and stuff like that. And it's so sad to see someone go through that, because you know how brilliant they are, but it just affects people's self-esteem. But he would always say, like, thank God I'm a man, because I think for a woman going through this, just with like society's expectations as well, it would make it even worse. But there are actual connections between psoriasis and like depression and also suicide because of how it affects people's mental health.
I've seen it as well firsthand. Like my siblings both suffer from it, and it's really sad to see someone that you love going through something that is out of their control, and it is brought on by stress. So the more it happens, the more you stress.
It's like a catch-22, isn't it? It's awful. And there's no like real cure for it either.
No.
And he tried like everything. I think in the end he ended up going to like some Chinese herbal like medicines. And like my dad is the most cynical person in the world. He's also he's a nurse, so like my mum had like heard of this thing and she was like, maybe you should try this, and he was like, oh no, it's not for me, kind of thing. So he like went in fully, like it wasn't placebo, it was like he was so cynical about it, and then he did it, and apparently it was just like magic and it like cleared up. But then his immune system kind of got used to it, and then it would like not be as effective each time. But yeah, it's such a strange thing. I also have one of my really good friends. I was wondering whether it was a similar thing to you, but it sounds different. But she had eczema as a kid and used a lot of steroid cream.
That can be caused by that.
So it's called toxic steroid withdrawal or topical steroid withdrawal.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so the more that she used it, the less effective it was becoming. And basically she decided to go cold turkey, and her skin completely flared up, like to the most painful and debilitating way that I've ever seen it on anyone, and it lasted for like years, and it's still something that she's struggling with. And she would get gaslit when she went to like doctors, because they would be like, well, you just need to take steroid cream, and she's like, no, but it's the steroid withdrawal and there's been loads of research in like I think Australia and like Japan and places like that, and they're doing the research into it, but like over here doctors were just like, well, you just need more steroids, and it was just making it all worse. And it's just been such a horrendous journey to see her go through. And it got to the point where she wasn't leaving the house, and she's a teacher as well, so she was having to go into schools and teach and stuff like that, and it was just the most heartbreaking thing to watch someone go through something like that. So I don't think it is superficial at all, because it's about people wanting to be seen and like be able to connect with people, and if you're feeling like you can't do that because you're in pain or because you feel self-conscious of how you look, it's such a big thing.
I've never had it before where I've like texted a friend. I texted my friends and said, girls, by the way, I've got like this thing on my face, please don't like say anything. Like I was so worried about but really, like when I think about like you mentioning with psoriasis and stuff, like when I see someone and people close to me that have suffered from it, I look at them and think they look beautiful and they look amazing.
Mad, isn't it?
And inside they're probably thinking, oh gosh, I hate how I look right now, don't look at me. But we care so much about how we're perceived, but actually a lot of people don't even notice those things that you're struggling with, or that you, even if it's really obvious to you in the mirror, like it's not always that obvious to other people.
And I remember as a kid, like seeing my dad with it and genuinely thinking that it made him really special, and that it was like this cool like pattern that he had, you know. And that's, I think, because that's like how kids view things.
It's amazing how kids view things. It made him
special. But yeah, I'm just going to show you something really quickly. So at the beginning of this year in January, I did a face mask, and I had an allergic reaction to it.
Oh no!
Yeah, so it was an aloe vera one, which obviously is meant to be soothing.
A lot of people have allergies to aloe vera.
So literally within 30 seconds, I was like, oh, it feels like it's working, because like my skin was going really tight, and I was like, oh, it's like making me younger.
No,
honestly. And then I looked in the mirror.
Oh, that's happened to me before.
Look at that. Like literally red, and you can see on my chest where I touched myself and it had like gone red, and I was like, what the actual fuck?
Did it go away after like, did you wash your face or something?
I washed my face, and then I took antihistamine.
Yeah.
And then I like rang my dad, I like FaceTimed him, and I was like, what's happening? I was like, make it go back. But
Dad's a nurse, you like
I know, yeah, it was mad. And I was like terrified that was going to be like that forever. But yeah, I think it was like the alcohol in it or something. It wasn't like the aloe vera, but I've tried contacting Holland and Barrett, and they are ghosting me.
No.
I know, and someone was like, well, you should put it on Twitter, and I was like, I'm absolutely not sharing that photo. Yeah. So Holland and Barrett, if you're out there.
That has happened to me before. I literally got gifted like this rhodial, it was called Dragon's Blood, like eye mask.
Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't actual, I don't think dragons exist.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't think they don't exist. But I put it on under my eyes. It was one of those ones where they like just fit under your eyes. I literally took it off and I just had like 2 red like things under my eyes, and I was like, how am I supposed to leave the house? Like, this is meant to be expensive, like helpful skincare, and it's just made me look atrocious.
But this is the fucking thing, isn't it? And like, women are just convinced to buy so much shit to put on their faces, and we don't even know what they're doing half the time. Like, I actually bought that because like I had like spots and stuff, so someone had said to me like aloe vera is good for it, so I went and bought that, and then it did that to me. Like, actually just fucking leave your face alone. And like, I remember my ex-boyfriend used to be like, moisturizer is a conspiracy. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, the more you put it on, the more your skin needs it. So it's a whole fucking conspiracy.
It's like lip balm.
Yeah, like lip balm. But when you think of it like that, women are just convinced to buy so much for their faces, like, you know, capitalism and skincare and all of those things, how it all ties together.
Strip it back.
And we're actually just fucking our faces up so much. It's wild.
My mum has actually given me an aloe vera plant before, squeezed the aloe vera out of it and gone put that on your spot.
Oh
and
my
it
God.
works.
Well, that's it works. That's back to the source though,
just
isn't
use
it?
the sauce.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all those. Yeah, you've got
not
the
Holland
alcohol.
Barrett version. It's mad.
Just tell Holland and Barrett you're going to buy a plant.
Go to the plant shop next door.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 things that make you feel like shit.
One thing is when I'm sort of sat down at the piano ready to write, and just nothing's coming out, like no creativity. There's nothing that is the thing I'm meant to be good at isn't working. Like it's just not happening for me, and I get really down because I'm like, oh, like what a waste of time. Like, but actually, those things aren't a waste of time. Like sometimes it's good to have those times when you're not as creative, so that when you're more creative, you've got that time when you weren't feeling so great to even use as like ammo to create more things. So that'd be one thing. Another thing is my time of the month.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me feel so gross.
Awful.
Just gross. Yeah. Like, you get spots, you get grumpy, you get pain.
Yeah.
And, like, you're expected just to continue, working and, you know, exercising. And it's just sometimes you really just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
So that would be number 2.
That's a really good one. Like, no one's ever mentioned that
Are they
before.
not?
No. But like,
it's like the first thing that actually came to my head.
I think, but is that not just a testament to how women are just supposed to, like, it's just so normalised for women?
Yeah.
That, like, they probably just don't even think about it to say it because we're just all expected to just get on with it all the time.
Yeah, and I think surrounding it as well, like, I've tried so many different, like, things that the doctors give you, like, contraceptive things to try and combat it. I've literally been on every single one under the sun. Yeah. And I've realised there's not one that doesn't cause you some sort of annoying side effect. Yeah, like, whether it be hormonal or non-hormonal. Like there's always going to be something that causes you pain or like spots, whatever it is, grumpiness, like anything. So yeah, there's not really a way to get rid of it. It's just part of life, I guess.
No, it's so wild. And like literally if men were going through it, they would have days off and stuff like that.
Oh no, don't apologise. It's not your fault.
But as a representative of men, thank you, we appreciate it. Like the whole week before, I'm like in a terrible mood and I don't really know why. And then as soon as I like come on, I'm like, oh, that's why. Like, and then afterwards, I'm just fucking exhausted.
The last thing that makes me feel like shit is when you just don't have a routine. We've already sort of brushed on it with being creative, but like I can't just stick to something and know what's going to happen or have a morning routine that I do at the same time every day, like, or, you know, on the weekends or whatever. I just don't have a routine, which can be amazing, and it is amazing because I can do so many great things and I'm not like chained to one thing. But it does sometimes make you feel a bit like shit when you just sort of don't have a structure.
Yeah. And I think when you're surrounded by people who do, it makes you feel like more of an oddity almost. Like it makes me feel quite insecure when I'm like live with people who do 9-to-5 jobs and I'm like here, there and everywhere, and it makes me feel really untethered. And like I feel a lot of judgment on myself for not kind of conforming to the societal norms, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm like known by my friends for the one that's just always like around on a Tuesday. It's like almost like people view you as unemployed.
Literally,
when you're not unemployed, but you are just always there on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. ready to like go for a coffee or something. And they're like, sorry, I actually work. Yeah, and you're like, oh, sorry.
I know. And then you kind of feel bad for complaining or for like being tired because you're like, oh, I do actually have quite a lot of spare time, but
it's not. Yeah, it's
weird.
Not
really spare.
It's not like, spare, but it is. It's strange
because you need that space in order to let like inspiration come.
Yeah.
So it's as important as, you know, I don't know, going to the gym or something like that. It's as important.
Yeah.
But
and equally, I find like on a Saturday, like my friends will last minute be like, do you want to hang out? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to, just because I've either got work or I've got sometimes I write on Saturdays, like, or I've got a plan, and like if I have a Saturday free, it's rarely free. Like it's just the other way around to everyone else.
Hey, Ant.
Hey.
You do a great job in editing this podcast, might I say. If people like the podcast, what do they need to do?
Like it.
What else?
Follow it on social media.
And then what?
They could share it with every single person they know.
Thanks, Ant. You can go back to your corner now.
Bye.
3 things that make you feel like the shit.
Okay, one of them is like self-care. I'm going to make it, because it's probably 3 different things, but self-care in general.
Fab.
By that, I mean wearing eyebrow gel.
Love that.
I don't know, like I can have no makeup on, just eyebrow gel. Feel
On
like
fleek,
the shit. Yeah, they're on fleek, brushed up, all that. Wearing a really cool outfit that I've put together that might not be conventional, but I just feel cool.
Great.
Or like getting my nails or hair done.
Yeah.
Just that kind
That
of...
all feels like it's almost like putting on like armour to like face the world or
feel
face
fierce.
the day. Yeah.
I'm getting my hair done on Saturday.
Stunning.
I just feel like I'm just going to feel good that day. Like I know I'll feel good afterwards just because it's
I know
just
I'll
like...
look great.
No, I'm not necessarily saying I'll look good, but I'll just feel... I'll feel put together.
Yeah, great. I love
Walking
that.
out the salon with the hair, wind in my hair. Like. So yeah, that's one thing that makes me feel like the shit.
Love that.
Another thing is doing a good parallel park.
Oh, okay.
This has come at about time because I actually hit my car into a wall yesterday.
Fab.
But a good parallel park when there's like people watching and like you just
The pressure's on.
swivel your way in.
Yeah.
Like there was time once when I was driving my brother and it was like a week after I passed. I couldn't parallel park outside the shops, so I literally got so embarrassed. This guy was watching me, I started crying. I drove my brother like round the whole village and then back again just because
Just to try again.
that person wouldn't be there anymore to watch me.
Yeah.
But now I'm really good at it. So when I get to like a good parallel park, I feel like I've accomplished
Nailed it.
something. Everyone's
Great.
looking at me like, wow, she knows how to park. So yeah, that's one other thing.
I love that.
And then another thing is when I speak Spanish to people and they like look at me like, how does she speak Spanish?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm not by any means fluent.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I did A-level Spanish.
Right. Okay.
So I'm like intermediate. But I went to...
You dabble.
I went to Barcelona last year with my boyfriend, and we went to all these restaurants, and then they would all like look at us and think that we were English and start speaking to us, and I'd ask for the table in Spanish. They'd sit us down, I'd order in Spanish. I like
Amazing.
understood what they were saying.
Yeah.
He was just there like like a little puppy, couldn't speak any. I was just doing all the talking. Wow. And the one time we went somewhere and spoke English, they didn't give us a table. And I was just like, I just felt like it was a superpower, being able to speak another language. I think it's
the coolest thing. I can't speak another language, and I feel so embarrassed when I go to other countries.
I get that when I'm in other countries other than Spain. Like, I feel like really like stupid. But even like on the way here, there was a woman at my station, and she was buying a ticket, and she was Spanish, and she was speaking in Spanish, and I understood everything she said. She didn't know that I understood what she was saying.
You were eavesdropping.
Basically, she was like 5p short for her ticket, and I felt like this is where I didn't feel like the shit, because I didn't talk to her, but I wish I did in hindsight, because she was 5p short. I probably had 5p in my bag, and she was like, oh no, and I had to get all her change out and pay on card. She was on the phone to someone telling them all this about how she was 5p short, and I was like, I wish I was like, here's your 5p.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no one ever speaks Spanish at my station either, so it was just like a coincidence.
Wow. During COVID, I did a Spanish class because I decided that I wanted to learn a language. And it's called Spanish and Coffee. It was, well, I say during COVID, it was at the beginning of 2020, so just before COVID. And it was me and 5 retired men. And I was the worst person in the class.
I love how you had to clarify that as well, so they knew you weren't breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, it was before the lockdown.
No, I know. But I just think it's so cool to be able to speak another language. 5 retired men. But they'd all like travelled around South America and stuff, and they were kind of flexing quite a lot. And I didn't, the course wasn't that inspiring, but Duolingo is great.
Yeah, Duolingo's good. When you're at school as well, you learn all the stupid things like what's in your pencil case, and like sacapuntas is like it's pencil sharpener. But like, do I ever need to know that for real life? Absolutely not. And that is my favourite Spanish word. But
that is such a good
un sacapuntas. But no, it's funny how when you. The best way to learn is just immersing yourself. And like when I was in Barcelona, I hadn't spoken Spanish for like 5 years, and I was really worried that I was going to be so like bad at it, and all I had to do was just try. And once you try,
and people will appreciate you trying.
They do.
As well.
They really do.
That's really cool. Okay, something that makes you lose your shit in a positive and a negative way.
Okay, positive. I'm bringing football into it.
Great.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
I've got. I go a lot with my dad, and when we score a last-minute winner, I never lose my shit like it. I literally hug random strangers, like jump up and down, like swing my scarf around, like I.
Oh my god!
You know, shout every word under the sun. Like I just.
It's like
my
a religious experience for some people, isn't it?
It's crazy. Like you literally sit there the whole game, really nervous, your heart's beating, you're ripping your nails off, like you're just stressed.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, it's like the biggest release of like serotonin there is. Wow. Like it's crazy. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, the energy must be wild. I've never been to a British football game. I've been to like an American football game.
The energy is crazy. I feel like it's very masculine. Yeah. The energy, like it's very not aggressive, but just people are very die-hard passionate about it. I've been to women's football, and it's really great, and it's really up and coming, but it's a lot more of a nicer environment to be in. Like a lot of people are very supportive, and whereas the men's football is more sort of nitty gritty. But I like both. I really like both. I really enjoy going. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy the feeling. I like going out with my dad and having a nice day with him.
Nice.
And
like a shared interest.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good way to bond, because me and him are very similar. But that also means we argue a lot. So it's nice to like agree on something.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then in a negative way?
In a negative way, again, another car thing. When I'm driving and there's a couple of situations, but one being when someone's going like 20 in a 40.
Right, yeah.
And I'm also one of those people that has this like moral dilemma of like, I don't want to overtake you, but you're going very slow right now. And I really just want to get to where I'm going. And it's not necessarily their fault, but it is. And I'm just like, I get like almost this primal anger that I don't get anywhere else when I'm behind the wheel. Like when someone cuts in front of me, I'm like, like I don't get like that any other time, but just when I'm driving.
When people are slowing you down, I mean, obviously I don't drive, but I get that if I'm just like walking on a pavement in London and someone's going really fucking slowly. The thing is, come on, where are you like wandering to?
That annoys me, but at least you can like maneuver.
Yeah.
But with the car, you can.
You're stuck in.
But it's kind of dangerous. It can be dangerous. I don't know. I don't like it when people overtake me. That's another thing that annoys me, when I'm like going fairly good pace. Like
it's like someone's judging you almost as they drive
like
past.
It might be 40 and I'm going 40 or 41.
Yeah.
Don't arrest me.
Yeah.
But like but someone overtakes me, I'm like, but I'm not going slow.
Yeah.
That just all the situations in a car, crashing it yesterday.
Oof.
Annoyed me. I was so angry.
Yeah.
It wasn't even bad. Like, it wasn't into anyone else. Like, it was absolutely fine, but it just gets me annoyed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Road rage. Okay. A moment that you found some shit out about yourself.
I'd definitely say lockdown.
Okay.
I had a lot of time on my own.
Yeah.
I don't spend that much time on my own. I quite like to keep busy, and I'm very chatty. I mean, I had like my family with me, but it was just a time where I was kind of just getting started with music, just sort of finding my feet. I'd been writing some songs. I did like an open mic, which I wasn't able to do anymore.
Yeah.
And I just spent as much time and put as much energy into just writing on my own and just going for it and just sort of being creative every single day.
Yeah.
And it really taught me like that hard work and putting in those hours can actually get you somewhere. Because by the end of it, like, it got to a point where I was getting to the level where I was able to be put in sessions with other people. And like, for a lot of people, lockdown was like a really terrible time, and it definitely was for most people, including myself at points.
Yeah.
But it also, as someone that was lucky enough to be like furloughed from a job and like sort of working, had so much time to just be creative and work towards my goal, which was really great.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, it did allow space from like the distraction so that you could focus on and like people got back to like creativity. I mean, you saw it was like the one time that I kind of enjoyed social media, because people were just like posting things that they'd crocheted and it wasn't like everyone was on these mad holidays and you get FOMO. It's just like everyone was kind of going back to basics of like making bread and like
a walk was the highlight of your day.
Yeah, it's like going back to the simple things. But I think in doing that, it allows space for like creativity to flow more easily.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to be inspired necessarily because
there's so much noise.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and like there's not much. You're not doing anything day to day that's like giving you an experience or something. But it definitely was like a time where it was like, I don't miss it, but I miss the presence and the sort of like being in that momentness of it all.
Yeah.
Whereas now I feel like my mind is in so many different places. I'm like, oh, what am I doing tomorrow? Whereas when in lockdown, what am I doing tomorrow? Same as today.
Yeah.
But like trying to do something.
We go again.
We're doing the puzzle in the kitchen downstairs. Like it's it was nice to spend time with family and things. It was just hard not being busy.
Yeah.
It has made me like enjoy having a night to myself now and just sitting there with a candle and like just chilling out rather than like thinking I have to be doing something all the time.
Completely. Shittest piece of advice you've received?
Probably during school. I was quite academic and I enjoyed like maths and things like that. But the pressure to apply to uni, teachers were like, apply to uni, like even if you're not sure what you want to do, like do it. Like, but for me, I never wanted to do anything enough to apply and do a subject in it. Like I enjoyed Spanish, I enjoyed music and like maths and things like that, but I didn't want to study it and sit there and go to uni. I wanted to go travelling and experience life first, and then also go and do music, which I didn't feel like I needed a degree for. So I felt like that was just a bit of a waste of time, me even applying in the first place, because I applied, I then deferred, and it was just a lot of unnecessary stress that I put on myself at that time. And I felt very like, if I don't go to uni, I am a failure. Like I haven't got a degree, I haven't got anything to my name, I've got no qualifications, like even though I had A-levels, like I just felt very like pressured to go, not by family, just by society.
Definitely. And you see it, don't you? Because I have so many friends who did the same thing. They just, like, it's just the expected trajectory that they would go to university. So they chose a subject that they kind of liked, and then they did 3 years, and then they came out the other side of it, and they were like, I don't know what the fuck I want to do with this. Like, my sister did psychology, and then she left, and she came out of it, and she was like, I don't know, she went travelling. And it wasn't until she was, like, 29, really, that she decided that she wanted to be a social worker. But like all of those years, it was just kind of this grey.
I mean, I applied to business management at a uni that was like kind of close to my home, because I didn't really want to go far, because I wanted to be able to like be close to London and do music and things. And I deferred it when I was travelling. By the way, everyone should do something like that in their life, because it was just the best thing ever. But I was just thinking about it all the time, like, oh God, like, should I go? Should I not? Should I accept it? And it was just a lot of pressure that I also put on myself to think, oh gosh, I need to go, when actually you don't need to go to uni. You can, and if you've got a degree that is really specific to the career that you want to do, and you're super sure you know what you want to do, then it's a really good thing, and it can be good for some people to bring them out their shell and all of that. But there is absolutely no pressure to actually go, like, just for the sake of it.
Do you think there's a part of it that is, I think sometimes when you're trying to pursue creative, careers, a lot of it, I think, is because people see it as not a very safe option. So they're kind of wanting you to have a backup. Like, because I even remember at A-levels, like, my parents are very supportive, but I remember, like, when it came to picking my A-levels, I wanted to do, like, all arts-based stuff, and my mum was kind of like, well, maybe you should have, like, English or something, something a bit more tangible. So, like, if it fails, you can, like, go to uni and you can, like, do English, and, just to have something to fall back on, because I think for so many people, the thought of being able to successfully pursue a career in the arts feels not
really far
realistic.
Away. A plan B is literally my least favourite thing. Like, I don't want to ever have one, because you're not then committing yourself fully. However, when I was younger, I used to think a plan B would have to be like working in an office, or being like going to uni later in life and getting a degree and things like that. But I've realised that, there are so many creative jobs that you can end up doing in your field, like being a writer, a songwriter, or being a music manager. There's so many other options. But to be honest, like, when you're young, you might as well just pursue your dreams, because you've literally, and this is so cliche, but you've got one life, and you have to enjoy what you're doing as much as you can. And there's so many people that will just do something because it's less risky, and like, I mean, I see it in my dad. Like, he used to, when he was younger, he used to play football, and he loved that, and then he got a knee injury, so he couldn't do it anymore. Classic. But he's so clever and so amazing, but he just, like, there's so many things that I can see that he'd love to do. Like, he'd love to come on tour with me and go crazy and, like, just be my, like, roadie. And hopefully one day I can get him to do that. But it's interesting when people choose security over maybe more risky things, and obviously that is just the way life is sometimes for some people.
As a society, we do put this weird pressure on, like, 16 to 18-year-olds to, like, know everything is, like, funneling down to, like, the thing that you're going to do. And actually, like, I was lucky that I knew that I wanted to be an actor, so therefore, like, the path that I was on was to go to drama school, and it was kind of laid out for me a little bit. But actually, so many people don't realise that what they want to do until they're older. And even for me, like, I went to drama school when I was 19. I couldn't engage with it in the way that I wanted to, because, like, I had no life experience. Like, most of me being at drama school was trying to figure out how to fucking live by myself and, like, cook an egg properly. Like, let alone...
Can you poach an egg?
I can, yeah. I am
really
vegan
hard.
now, so I don't do that anymore. But I did learn. I was quite good. Microwave, have you heard this trick?
No.
So get a bowl of boiling water, crack an egg into it, put it in the microwave for a minute.
Stop.
And it comes out and it's poached.
No.
It's amazing.
No.
Yeah.
Do you put any vinegar in it?
I don't think I did. I think it was a minute or 2 minutes. So maybe do it.
Quite a big difference.
I don't do a test. Well, if it comes out and it's still, like, yolk, then, But yeah, like, I often wish that I had waited and taken my time a little bit and gone to drama school when I was a bit older, and I had capacity to make the most of it. Because I think a lot of these things is, like, knowing yourself more.
Yeah.
And, like, like, going into rooms that you must go into when you're, like, writing with people and stuff like that. So much of it is being able to hold your own in the space. Whereas, like, when you're really young, and obviously you meet young people who are, like, very confident and stuff like that. That wasn't me. But, like, you're so malleable and you want to please people so much that actually you can lose yourself a bit more. And I think if you approach these things when you're slightly older, be that in the arts, be that going to university, any of those things, you probably have a way healthier relationship. But we're just forced into, like, feeling like we have to make these decisions really quickly.
I think as well, like, especially going to somewhere like drama school, where you're surrounded by so many big personalities, and then not feeling super out of your shell or confident yourself, like, that is really hard. And I noticed that with going into sessions when I first went into writing rooms. Like, I would be with people that I've been paired with, and they're, like, already a bit established or even more established, and, like, they're doing really well, and I would sort of just let them, like, take over more, and I would sit back. Even though I'm fairly confident, I kind of just felt maybe again like a bit of the imposter sort of side of it, where I was like, oh, like they know what they're doing, they've done this loads of times, like I'll just sort of follow their lead. But it got to a point where I was just writing songs that weren't for me.
Exactly.
And I was kind of not wasting time, but going into these sessions and writing things that were never going to ever come out. And so then, like, over time, I've definitely, like, crafted this way of, like, not commanding a room in a sense of being overpowering, but sort of leading the song in the direction that is going to be best for me, and sort of telling the person what I want to write as an artist, rather than what they think will be good for a song. Like, I've found artistry has been a long journey of, like, working out what that is. Even since the Oliver song came out last year, like I wrote a song in July, which is now the like title track of my EP, which I already had an EP before that, and we've completely changed it because I wrote a song that felt like really like me, and it was different, and it has now shaped the record as it is now because of that song. So there's always room to evolve and to learn and to write something that is going to better what you've already done.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, shit you wish you'd known sooner.
People don't care about you as much as you think they do. I still don't know this, but I care so much about how I'm perceived, and I know deep down, even when I care how I'm perceived, how much people don't actually care. They don't notice the things that the little things you do, like, oh, I wore this colour scarf today. No one cares. Like, you think you're the main character of your own life, which you should be, but you're not the main character of theirs, and they don't care. When I was literally like 13, would post singing videos on social media, and I, in a way, didn't care because I had like wet hair, whereas wearing like guide uniform, didn't really think about it. But then people would knock me down and be like, oh, you can't sing, or like and I would care so much, and I would stop posting videos. But actually, like, as you grow up, you realise, even if they have an opinion about you, you shouldn't let it get to you, because as long as you're confident in what you're doing and happy and proud of yourself, why should anybody else's opinion from somewhere that's not even the same place as where you are matter to you more than what you think about yourself?
Completely. I was watching RuPaul yesterday, and Saran Jones was on it, and she said something like, if they ain't paying your bills, pay them no mind.
When I was really young, I used to do modelling. And I was like 16. And I was wearing this like dress, and it was a strapless dress, and I was like really scared that it was going to fall down. And the guy was like, hey honey, no press is bad press. And I was like, yes, this case it is bad press. Like, if this falls down, I'm never going back to school ever again. And so it's one of those things, like, no press is bad press in a sense. Like, if people are talking about you, then you're doing something, I guess.
I guess that works in like a celebrity culture where you want to be in the spotlight all the time.
True.
But like, I definitely think there are like, there's things that I wouldn't want to be known for, you know?
I agree, but you know, in a sense of like, in a social environment, like if people are talking about you in a positive way, or you are a topic of conversation, then you're obviously like, you shouldn't worry too much about that. If that makes sense. You shouldn't worry if somebody's saying something like slightly negative about you, if you know that that's not true, or that's not like a big deal.
And actually, it probably says more about the person who's saying it, because it's probably coming from a place of like jealousy, or, you know, whatever. You know. Okay, we're at the point of a shit shot. So that is a photo that to the outside eye looked like you had your shit together when you actually didn't.
Okay, let me get it up. This was quite easy, because I had this picture. It's not on my Instagram anymore, but I had this picture that I posted on Instagram probably 2017.
Okay.
And it is a picture of me with a load of other models, and one of them is Gigi Hadid.
Oh my God.
So I did a show that Gigi was in, and
Which one are you?
I'm the one with the really yellow hair on the end.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow, nice dress.
Oh, thank you.
Gigi Hadid.
Yeah, I know. So I posted this, and I think the caption was something along the lines of, haha, just did a show with Gigi. And like, to anyone in the outside world, that would have looked like I'm best friends with her.
Yeah.
You know, we did loads of shows together, like, which isn't the case.
Yeah.
I didn't even speak a word to her.
Oh my
I just got in a
God.
picture with her. Like, I made it look like to the world that I was this big, crazy, successful person. Whereas under the surface, I was deeply insecure. I looked like I had it all, but really I did not. I was, you know, a lot of the time sitting on the floor at castings, hoping to get a job. Like, I was constantly told by people that I needed to lose weight and like not eat certain foods, and like I missed so much school. I had like 70% attendance in sixth form.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was away all the time, and like my friends were making new friends, and I didn't really like, I wasn't there, so they weren't really hanging out with me as much, and like, I just wasn't really that happy. But in that picture, I look like I'm on top of the world. And it's funny, and it really, really made me think about when people post stuff, you do not know what's going on under the surface. A lot of the time, people are not as happy as they make out. Even if they're smiling, like it's
the biggest lie.
Nothing is ever as it
seems.
seems. It really is. Like, social media is, you cannot take anything face value. Like, it's just under the surface, there is always more to it.
When did you start modelling then?
I was scouted when I was really young. I was about 14.
Wow.
I started doing it properly when I was 16. I used to do like catwalks. I did like Paris and London fashion weeks and things like that.
Oh my God.
Which is not as glamorous as it sounds. And I did it up until I was about 18. But it was I'm really grateful for it. I, you know, had some great experiences, but there were just so many times where I was really lacking confidence, even though I looked like I was sky high. Like, I was just like told to not eat carbs and sugar and not eat dinner, skip dinner sometimes.
At like such a young age as
well.
At the age of so like damaging.
I was, you know, I love cake. I was eating a cake and then feeling awful about it, and like, you know, going to the gym all the time because I felt like I had to like keep in shape, and like it would sometimes be like a week would pass and I got told I'd put on weight in that 1 week.
Oh my God.
And it was like, it was just crazy. But it really made me learn to, like, when I got out of it, when I left, I learned to love the way I am and the way that I've sort of developed into a woman. And like, I hated it for so long, and now I'm like super, super like confident and happy with how I am. And like, even like height, when I was younger, all the boys used to be like, oh, she's really tall, like I'm not going to go out with her. And like, that taught me to love, in a way, weird twisted way, it taught me to love my height, because somebody was appreciating
really valued,
me for my
isn't it?
height. I mean, it's like, you have to be, for catwalk, you have to be like 5'10" or something more. And I really started to like be like, oh, so being tall is cool, like it can be. So that was a good thing. But yeah, it was a big part of me growing up. I became very independent very quickly, because I had to travel like to Paris on my own and Spain on my own, and a lot of time without my parents, just in the middle of like Paris, going to try and find dinner in the Moulin Rouge district on my own at the age of 16.
Oh my God. Wow. Because you hear the stereotypes of modelling, that it's like the most brutal industry, and it's interesting that you're now like in music, which is, I guess, another kind of cutthroat industry, and like acting is also kind of very aesthetics based. Like,
it is,
what is the difference and similarities between all of these things?
I would say the biggest similarity is rejection. You get a lot of rejection in modelling and in music and in I did acting when I was younger. I used to get like rejected all the time.
In modelling though, it feels like because it's so based on your appearance, because at least with like acting or something like that, like you can kind of be like, okay, well, I wasn't right for the part, or like in singing, okay, my voice wasn't right for this thing or whatever. But like modeling it's so bare bones of like,
in a way though, it's not like a beauty contest. Like, you can be what society would deem beautiful, or what society would deem more interesting looking, whatever, but it doesn't, you can be more interesting looking and get the job. Like, it's kind of similar in the sense of like, you don't have to beat yourself up about the way you look, because you just might not have been right for the job. Like, I got one of my biggest jobs was because I looked like the other girl that was it. It wasn't anything to do with the way I look. It was just that she was meant to be my mum, so we had to look similar. But the difference with music, I think, is it probably, I would say it hurts more getting rejected because you've tried so hard and it's like you've put your soul into it and it's your talent. Whereas modelling isn't a talent. So for me, I just kind of was like, well, whatever. Like, that's just not. I didn't.
Way to engage.
I didn't really care about the outcome as much, because it wasn't my career, it wasn't my dream. I just happened to be scouted and did it because it was, you know, a good opportunity to make a little bit of money and savings and things. But really, like, I think it would hurt a lot more if I like missed out on something from music.
Yeah.
Because I feel in control of what I can create and the way I can put myself out there and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ella, have you got your shit together?
You know what? I think I do.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I've got music coming out that I'm really proud of.
Amazing. When does that come out?
Well, hopefully the first single will be like March, April. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you can hear a bit in a minute. But no, I just feel like I'm finally, after 4 years of working, 5 years of working towards it, I'm in a place where I'm ready to like get out there and start properly like making a career for myself. And I'm not going to lie, like I do have days where I don't have my shit together, like everyone does. But I feel confident. I feel happy with where I'm at. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh.